Star Trek Discovery Family Reunion and Control's Big Move Review Ep. 211. While we've been somewhat aware of the power and purpose of Control over the last few episodes of Star Trek Discovery, Episode 211, Perpetual Infinity gave us the clearest picture yet of just how monumental a task it really will be to save sentient life in the galaxy. Control is not playing around with this whole wipe them all out scenario, and demonstrated just how formidable this emerging AI is going to be. Perpetual Infinity was a galvanizing episode that gave us a glimpse of the intensity needed to try and defeat this threat to the galaxy, through the eyes of the Red Angel herself, Burnham's mom. And while the episode ended with mom and daughter parted with tears streaming down their faces, most of this episode was devoted to Michael getting a first-hand lesson from mom about how serious this all is. Michael wanted a reconnection of sorts, and her mother simply wasn't having it. While you could construe that as a coldness and harshness brought on by isolation, I took it as a sign that mom is completely and utterly dedicated to keeping the galaxy intact, and thereby her daughter. She's seen it, she knows. I thought Sonequa Martin-Green did a great job of fusing confusion, joy and intensity into a wonderful mix right here. What's wrong with mom? Nothing, she's trying to save your hide repeatedly. That takes focus, Michael. Fortunately, emotion finally came flowing through just before Michael's mom was pulled back to the future by the power that dwells within the Red Angel suit. I thought it wonderfully interesting to see mother and daughter with two completely different objectives, and how they simply couldn't understand why the other couldn't understand. Fortunately, as the final scenes played out, Michael began to understand that it no longer was simply a matter of mother-daughter relationships or lost family, but the continued survival of all life in the galaxy. Pretty weighty stuff, that. I loved the intensity of their conversations and how focused on the bigger picture mom was. It took Michael a while to get there, as you might imagine, but eventually she grasped the enormity of the control threat, and her mom's single-mindedness to foiling its plot. The insight we now have about Control and its objectives are terrifying. The fact it possesses the ability to possess a human body just makes it even more nightmarish. I was never a fan of Leland's zealous devotion to Section 31, but now that he's a Control puppet, I am feeling some pangs of sympathy for the character. What I really liked about Possessed Leland was the wonderful way it highlighted just how astute an observer Philippa Georgiou is of the human condition or not human condition. Obviously, I'm a huge fan of Michelle Yeoh's portrayal of Georgiou, and have sung her praises repeatedly. But I was delighted to see a total manifestation of her deductive powers in regards to Leland. A look here, a change of orders here, a repeated phrase that rang a bell. Georgiou demonstrated such a quick and ready instinctive ability to decipher small telltale clues. She's always watching, always processing, always putting pieces together that no one else seems to know or even on the board. All that was on display in this episode as she cracked the Leland's control code, and was largely responsible for keeping the sphere download at least partially out of Control's hands. And she wasn't alone. It looks like Ash Tyler has some of those same skills, doesn't it? Georgiou communicates with him on a secure line, and one of the first things he says is, "That's not Leland, is it?" Tyler's role has been a little strained of late, but in this small segment we got a look behind his intellectual curtain a bit, and see that he's got some formidable skills himself. I think Shazad Latif's run as Ash Tyler has been interesting, and I'm glad to see him getting in the fray a little more.